Report, remote edition. None of us north of the border tonight, but the Celtics were and got a good win here.
Are you going to
Jimmy
intro me?
by my side here. Welcome
Thank you.
in.
Jeez, I was waiting for the intro, dude. My God.
This
What's
game,
good?
Jimmy.
Friday night, Bob. How we feeling? You're looking good. You got some
Thanks.
good lighting over there. Or you got the, you know what it is? You got the contacts in.
Yes. Yeah, no
You can
glasses
see
here.
those. What
So
are those? There's some robin's egg blue eyes going on. I think. What do we got over there?
those are just all natural. But
All right,
this game,
carry on.
Jimmy, I felt like this is one the Celtics easily could have lost. I thought they were going to lose the way it was falling late. And then they just made 3 great plays down the stretch for the Porzingis baskets and the decisive Derek White 3 that showed again this is a different team in crunch time. My biggest takeaway from this game, those 2 Porzingis buckets in the post, one over 2 guys, the other tough, long post hook. Those aren't plays you had last year. Rob's not making those. Horford's not making those. No one on the Celtics could have made those last year, but you had outlets on a night where you really couldn't hit the 3, where Tatum wasn't there for you, to get inside looks late and win the game. It was, I think, as indicative of any moment yet why you had to make the changes you did over the summer. Just a monster game for Porzingis. 14, 12, 5, 1 with 3 blocks. This is exactly what you brought him here for.
Exactly. And we keep saying over the last 3 games now, we're like, best game they've played, best game they've played. I'm not going to say it was the best game they played collectively.
No, they were rough tonight at times, yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is there was a lot of things tonight that you loved, and you already brought a few of them up. The way Porzingis contributed. The fact that it wasn't Tatum tonight in the fourth quarter, where it has been in most of these games so far this season, which is a good thing. But the fact that it wasn't tonight and they had players that were able to step up in his absence is something that maybe in previous seasons that doesn't happen. Maybe you just get a situation where Tatum forces it more, or Jaylen Brown, forces it a little bit more. And we've seen the lack of execution down the stretch in those situations where everybody knows who's getting the ball, regardless of how well they're playing. Tonight, you had a situation where Porzingis contributing on both ends. Derek White tonight was your fourth quarter guy with that huge, one of many big plays tonight was that 3 in the corner there. And then you had Holiday, who was just being Holiday. I think he's the one who passed it to White on that 3. Yep. Just two ways tonight. And I don't know what his stat line is off the top of my head. 14, 8, and 5 for Holiday. That's just such a Holiday line, right?
Yeah, he's had steady 7 rebounds so far too.
Yeah. And then on a night where Tatum goes 8 for 22 from the floor, including 1 of 11 from 3. Ooh, and you got the win. You got one of those nights and you got the win. You'll take that any day, absolutely any day, regardless of whether it's a in-season tournament game or not. That aside, this was a really good win for them. The way that they did it, I mean, you would have been disappointed if they lost that lead that they had and just gave it away, especially with Siakam picking up 3 fouls in the first quarter. That is grounds for losing your job, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a coach over there in Toronto,
especially with the night he had. Yeah, he wasn't able to play much. Still has a great night. The Raptors were on the verge of stealing this one. Now, they bailed you out with some stupid shots late. That Schroeder one was pretty bad. The other one, Barnes was a good look.
Don't with your Schroeder. We're on agenda watch again, folks. We're on agenda watch. Bobby is
you saw them.
Schroeder. I feel
even
like the world is against Schroeder, man.
Even Siakam's, the one before the first Porzingis bucket, wasn't great. They just needed something to settle down there, and they couldn't find it. Schroeder 3 missed, Siakam missed mid-range. Schroeder drove and missed, and Poto put that shot back, the one they did make down the stretch to pull head 2, but then it was another Schroeder miss, and Barnes did get a great look there. They screwed up defensively, the Celtics did, almost like the bubble play where OG broke loose, but this time it was Scotty Barnes who really hasn't found his 3-point shot yet in his career, and he missed that one with a ton of space to tie this game potentially there. So they were tough tonight. This is the Raptors team you think of. This is the one I know and love that's going at you in isolation, making tough shots, defending hard. They were scrambling everywhere tonight. Now, their bench unit kind of stunk, but Siakam was great. Schroeder had his moment early, but kind of faded late. And Siakam, as we mentioned, pretty good there too. Trent had a couple big buckets too, 3 threes. So you got the better version of this team. Pearl as well was really good in this one, I thought. The better version of this team that basically just folded when you saw them in Boston last week. The Celtics just rolled all over them. But they came out of this game making 4 straight shots early, had a good first quarter, fell apart a little bit in the second, but got back on their feet for most of that second half and really challenged you throughout.
Yeah. What didn't you like in this one? I mean, because you said it, really wasn't one of their best games, obviously. But I mean, fourth quarter aside, late in that fourth quarter aside, what was it that I guess maybe Toronto was doing well, or that, I mean, were they doing something against Tatum, or was it just one of those nights for him?
I think the defense wasn't great, especially Tatum and Brown on Siakam. Porzingis got pushed around by Pirtle at times, a couple offensive rebounds. So your individual efforts on defense could have been better. Now, I think you tightened up late when you needed to. You had that nice stop by Porzingis on Schroeder in isolation down the stretch of the game there. But for much of the night, I think the defense hurt them. Just some putbacks and ISO scores for Toronto. And again, this is a team that's kind of making some crazy shots and frustrating you. I think if you're the defense, it's not like they were creating great looks for themselves. They're just kind of scrapping out offense down there. But that's what frustrated me most. Tatum, of course, 11 threes, making 1. You don't love the shot selection from him in this one. And he hit some tough mid-rangers. It could have been an even worse night for him if he didn't make those. So this wasn't Tatum's night either.
He had a bad. I thought he had a bad shot selection night.
Yeah, that's what probably frustrates you most there. Just 2 assists, 3 turnovers. Other guys had to pick them up here. Unfortunately, that's the kind of team you have. Brown was great. Transition buckets. We'll see what happened with him with the late injury. That's going to be really frustrating if you lose him out of this one. But he had a great game.
Maybe it looked like, are we talking maybe like a pulled groin situation? It kind of looked like.
The right side gave out on him.
It was listen.
10 seconds left in the game.
It's the freaking floor, Bobby. It's the floor. This isn't the regular floor. So if the NBA wants to have this, in-season tournament and get all funky with the court designs, by the way, I spent, I think, the first 20 minutes trying to change like the color contrast on my TV because I thought it was like it was like grayscale or something. Bad color scheme. But if the floors aren't in the right condition, that is unacceptable. You cannot have guys slipping and sliding all over the floor. Whether it's because of the paint, whatever the reason is, if they can't get, I don't know what it is, Bobby, but I mean, you're shipping these floors all around and you want to do all this stuff. And then you got one of your star players, hopefully knock on wood here, because it goes without saying how huge that would be if he were to, have anything here. But man, that sucked. That was tough to see. And hopefully it's nothing major, maybe just a little strain, hopefully, right? In a couple of days and it gets better. But I mean, could have been way worse. I mean, it could have been a knee. It could, if John was here, he'd be calling for the knee injury, depending on.
It's even
That's a
better.
joke, everybody. That's a joke from a few seasons ago.
That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Would have been a clean. No, but.
Yeah, no, and we already mentioned the issue in Dallas. Grant pointed that out, the 3-point line being in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So here's your second incident. I will say I obviously got to step on
hamstring, groin, could be either of those things.
I obviously got to step on the Celtics new floor, and
yeah, what'd you think?
I didn't get a good feel.
I wouldn't have touched it. I would not have touched that floor. It's not parquet. I wouldn't have stepped foot on it.
You wouldn't even step foot on it.
Nope.
It smelled like Home Depot. It smelled like they just painted it, like they just got it out of the production line, wherever. And we'll welcome in Sherrod here, who
hell yeah
is joining us here tonight. We're talking about the floor, Sherrod.
What's going on, fellas?
We were just having floor talk because we were talking about how Jalen slipped, and I'm blaming this in-season tournament.
Jimmy.
Sherrod.
Jimmy.
I'm doing it.
Was it the hockey ice?
How the hell do you know that, Jimmy?
Because I know
it's not like Jalen like if Jimmy, I would probably co-sign with you if that happened in like the first quarter. Yes.
He
If
slipped.
freaking happened to that, I would, if I'm going to blame anyone, I'm going to blame the damn ball boys and girls who probably should have swiped that area or they're the
Shouldn't
ones
have
that's supposed to
halftime
do that
sweep.
stuff.
Usually, usually that's like under the basket type stuff. Doesn't really happen in the middle of the court like that. So
Yeah.
I'm on high alert. I want a thorough investigation into the quality of the wood and the quality of the paint on these new floors. Anyway, Sherrod, give us your thoughts on this one.
Well,
aside from that.
Look, this was a good game. I mean, Toronto is the type of team that if you start looking at the types of squads you're going to have to go through if you're the Boston Celtics, this is like a first round playoff type team. The kind of team that's scrappy. They're going to make you work. You're going to get a little bit uncomfortable because of some of the things they're going to do. Right. They're going to make you become a better team as you go along your journey. And you need to get comfortable playing teams like that. And the thing I liked about this game was that the Celtics, I thought, won this one a little bit differently than they've done some other games. Down the stretch, we're always talking about Tatum. And you look what Joe Mazzulla was dialing up. They were able to get the switch where Porzingis was matched up against a guard. And what did they do? They went right at it. Got big buckets from him down the stretch. And to me, it's little tweaks like that they did not have the luxury of doing a year ago that they do now is why I'm so bullish on this team being the last team standing in the NBA.
Yeah. And Sherrod, we were talking about one of the things we said off the top kind of was it wasn't Tatum tonight. He actually had a pretty rough game, but you had players in that fourth quarter, Porzingis, White, Holiday. Brown had a really good fourth quarter. He was aggressive. Guys who stepped up that maybe, well, obviously you wouldn't have seen in previous seasons because Porzingis and Holiday weren't on the team. But trying to say is different looks here in the fourth quarter than we've seen in previous seasons. And it feels like a team with a little bit more purpose and identity, maybe a little bit more confidence late in games, and they kind of know where to be and what they're doing.
Yeah. And they seem to have this they're not willing to give in when it's easy to give in. There's some nights where things just aren't going your way. A team's playing really great basketball and they played well enough where you can conceivably say, yeah, they probably deserve to win tonight. And the Celtics are just basically like, hell no. I know Toronto's played a good game. They've done a lot of good things, but we're still going to come in here and we're going to get this win. And even if they go up a little bit, late in the game, we're still going to find a way to get back into the game and eventually take over. That shot that Derek White hit from the corner that was set up by the Drew Holiday penetration. I mean, my goodness. I mean, that is just textbook game-winning plays. Drew could have easily took that shot in the paint, which would have been contested. But rather than do that, he kicks it out to a wide-open teammate who just casually knocks down a three ball.
Right in that corner. That was money.
I mean, this Celtics team is a problem for a lot of teams because they have a lot of different ways they can put you away.
Celtics now 4-2 in the clutch with a +37 net rating. I believe that's the second highest in the league. So they've been great in these late close games, which have been their problem the last couple of years, Sherrod. And I mentioned before you came on the two Porzingis looks. Those are shots you didn't have on your team last year. Right. The dump-off passes to a big who could hit a tough shot over two guys, who could hit that leaner over Schroeder with the mismatch, and get a two-pointer on a night where you shot pretty poorly from three, especially your best player. This is probably a game where Tatum would have been launching more threes down the stretch last year and missing them when on a night where he's a 1 of 11 rather than having your big man go inside for two tough buckets there.
Yeah. And I think for Tatum, overall, obviously not tonight, but overall this season, he's been a much more efficient player. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that he doesn't feel the pressure to carry this team as much as he has in the past. When things got a little bit squirrely and maybe, Jalen has like 5 turnovers, and they need someone to get a bucket without turning the ball over. Often he forced the action, but now you've got Derek White who can knock down corner threes. You got Drew Holiday that can get you buckets. Porzingis creates mismatch problems, and Jalen, when Jalen is playing his game, he's obviously a problem for teams. So Tatum can actually go out and be just play his game and not have to deal with the pressure of making every single shot down the stretch because this team isn't built for that anymore. They don't need him to be that dominant. It's great when he is. And for most nights, he has been really good down the stretch, but they don't need him to carry them for 4 quarters like that. He can really, in many respects, harness a lot of his talent for the fourth quarter when they need him most.
And they're 2-0 in the in-season tournament now, Jimmy. I just thought of that too. You needed this one to keep those Vegas hopes alive.
You needed this one.
I was going to say, Jimmy, he's not talking about you and me.
No, he's not. Although I might have to go. That's a good reason to go, Sherrod. Me and you will go. We'll share a room.
You keep saying you're going to go on the road, Jimmy. We're
That's
waiting
definitely
to see
not
you.
happening.
Come on, Sherrod. We can have a blast, dude. Me and you will get Washburn involved. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so now we got, definitely not happening.
G-Wash knows the spots. Yeah, good for them. 2-0. I don't know what it means, but they're 2-0. I know that
they got the Magic next Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like Nathan Knight must be fired up, and like Keta and like all these guys who aren't sniffing the floor. But
you think the two-way guys get the bonus too? I hope they do.
Sure, why not? Give it to him, right?
Maybe Tatum would just give him his. Brown, just give it a Knight, give it a JD.
Yeah. I want to see Cornette. Listen, I want Cornette to get that 500 G's and just.
We gotta ask Cornette, and I actually
hit the club, make it rain, 500,000 in one night. Just Cornette.
That's a great idea, Jimmy. Next time I get my one-on-one with Luke, I'm asking him, "What are you doing with the 500K if you win?"
Oh, will you actually please ask him that? That would be a great question to ask. You should ask every player that, but you don't want to jinx it though. But that would be great.
I like their chances right from the start when they put these groups out. You beat the Raptors here. Who was the first team they beat? The Nets. And now you get the Magic next Friday. Sneaky tough game on Black Friday on the road, but 2:00 tip-off too, by the way.
Why does Black Friday matter? Are they going to be shopping that morning or something?
No, you just ate pounds and pounds of Thanksgiving turkey the day before.
Tatum's going to be cold. He was in line at Walmart for 6 hours like on Black Friday before the game.
No, you had all your Thanksgiving food and drink.
You had to get the TV beforehand.
Getting on the plane. Who knows when are they gonna fly? That afternoon on Thanksgiving, and then
the
2:00 tip off in Orlando.
You got to be careful. No turkey on Thanksgiving. That's gonna make you tired and sleepy.
Yeah.
No.
What's
carbs.
their record all time after Thanksgiving? We gotta look for this.
That's a really good question. I don't know.
That is a good question.
Believe it or not, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. But
what?
You gotta just eat light. No, like easy on the stuffing. Don't go back for seconds. This is serious stuff here. There's a lot of money on the line.
A lot of money for the guys at the end of the bench. Let's be clear about that.
For sure.
A lot of money for the guys at the end of the bench. For the Jaylen Browns, the Jason Tatums, the Porzingises of the world, this isn't even lunch money. It's more like snack money.
Come on. It's a little bit more than snack.
Look at this. Chicken breast and
it's broccoli. A hell of a night is what it is, Sherrod. It's a hell of a night.
For Jimmy Toscano, I agree. It's a hell of a night. Hell of a night.
Chicken breast and broccoli. That's absolutely.
The idea of Jimmy Toscano having $500,000 to that's. I'm a little nervous about that concept.
Yeah, I am too, to be completely honest. Yeah.
So Magic next Friday.
If you gave it to me all at once, yeah, that'd be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a problem for sure. I don't trust myself.
I'm thinking they're gonna sweep this playing slate here. You got Magic next Friday, Bulls the following Tuesday. Who knows who's even on the Bulls at that point?
Well, listen, Bobby. Listen, you're basically saying are they going to be the favorite in that game? Of course they are. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to be a favorite pretty much going forward here. You might be the underdog on the road in Denver. You might be the underdog on the road. I mean, in Phoenix. Other than that, you really should be a favorite all the way through the rest of this damn season. So, yeah, sure, you can say I think they're going to sweep, but we really have to wait and see which team shows up. Now, for the most part this year, the great version of this Celtics team has shown up. I have no reason to believe they won't. 10-2 so far. I know, Bobby, you texted us asking if they could maybe hit the 70 win mark. I think I share the same opinion with John. I think those days are in the past. I just don't think there's enough. There's nothing worth until I'll say this, Sherrod. Until they make a prize for winning your conference, like a monetary prize, not just home court. I don't think you'll see those win totals anymore because it's just not worth it.
Well, it's not worth it because teams have seen more than their share of teams that just kind of steamroll through the regular season, play their asses off night in, night out, and they get to the playoffs and there's nothing left in the tank, or there's very little in the tank when they get to the conference finals, if they get that far. So teams are much more in line with thinking, let's just win consistently, but we're not going to go all out every single night to win, because over time, it takes a little bit of something away from you. The Celtics, I think, are doing it exactly the way you're supposed to go about this. I mean, their core guys are playing, good minutes, but they're starting to the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 games. Joe Mazzulla is doing what he has to do to win without, frankly, killing his guys in the process. Tatum's not the days. That. Yeah, Tatum's not playing like 38, 39, 40 minutes, and Jalen, those guys are playing what I think are superstar type minutes without having to carry the load damn near all game. And so I think it's going to pay off for them come playoff time, because I think they will be a little bit more fresher than we've seen them come playoff times in the past couple of years.
And you know what, Sherrod and Bobby, you mentioned this, I think, in a text. A player that's helping them with the minutes right now? House South.
The bench is coming around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last game, you get those performances from Horford and Banton and Mihailuk and Hauser. And tonight, I thought it happened again. You were pretty flat in this first quarter. I think the final score there was 32-26 Toronto. And then you come out mostly with the bench in the second quarter and win 39-17. The final plus minus is on those guys. Hauser plus 8. Pritchard plus 11. You had slight minuses from slight minus from Horford, but you'll take plus 11 from Pritchard. He had the nice offensive rebound that set up a 3-pointer. Hauser 3 more threes tonight. I texted you during the game, Jimmy. He might average 10 points a game this year, which
that's what
doesn't sound super impressive, but for him, another nice step for him.
That. Yeah,
considering the kind of offensive firepower this team has, to get 10 points a night from Sam Hauser is impressive.
Yeah,
it's really impressive. Jaylen Brown and Tatum, more likely than not, are going to be like top 10, top 15 scorers in the league. Then you got Porzingis, who's going to put up good numbers, and you got Drew Holiday's going to give you, low to mid teens, and then to get another double-digit performance outside of those 4, that's pretty damn impressive. And we didn't even talk about Derek White.
Yeah, when we're talking about the bench, though, I somewhat agree with DJ Daniel here in the comments. Bench was just Hauser hitting threes. They still do need more regularly from their bench, but I'll take this start with Hauser. What is this? This is an old Zannis take on the lower third here. Bobby,
damn.
Wow, doing Zannis dirty right now.
Jay-Z is in here to defend himself. Jay-Z is not here to defend himself. And I can't see Jimmy Toscano powering up the Boomer Rage tonight. It's just not in you tonight.
No. Hey, I already lost one of mine, too, with the Holiday bench thing. So,
you lost that one fast here,
I think. Yeah, that was bad, Bobby. That was bad.
That one's hard to come back from, to be honest, Bob. Holiday had another good one tonight.
Hauser keeps it going. And it's important. I mean, you even saw at times in this game them having to account for him. He's actually drawing defenses out to him, which was the biggest problem earlier in the year with that bench unit. When they were really struggling and he was off to a slump to start the year, they'd play off these guys. Doesn't matter if Pritchard and Hauser are known as shooters. They'd still be in the lane trying to put some extra bodies in there against Tatum and the others. And that was causing some turnovers for those guys and other issues for the offense.
Yeah. I thought Sam, low-key did a pretty solid job defensively, I thought, tonight. I mean, and it's not even about blocks and steals. It's about moving your feet, keeping yourself between the basket and the shooter. I thought he did a good job of just not allowing the Raptors to turn the corner when they wanted to, when they would get that switch and they would try to go at him, and being able to either keep himself between himself and the basket or leading them towards where the help was. And forcing them to just reset, which takes time off the shot clock, and which is a good thing when you're playing defense. So Sam is by no means am I looking at him as a really elite two-way player, but he's doing enough defensively that he's not a liability, I think, at that end of the floor. And if he's knocking down shots, which we obviously know is a big part of why he's on the floor to begin with, that's what if you're the Celtics, that's exactly what you need. I mean, in a perfect world, he would be Kyle Korver 2.0. A guy that's a deadly shooter, does enough good things defensively to where you can play him out there and not feel as though
Kyle Korver was a killer, man.
Yeah, he was a sniper. But the thing about Kyle, people forget or didn't pay as much attention to. He did a good enough job defensively where teams stopped making a point of trying to go at him and they just ran their normal offense because they knew that it just wasn't going to work or it was going to take them so far away from what they wanted to do that it became a detrimental thing, even if it worked once out of 6-7 tries. At that point, it just doesn't make sense. So I think Sam is trending in that direction because if he becomes the second coming of Kyle Korver, which I think he has the potential to be, you're feeling really good about yourself for the Celtics because that's like your 6th or 7th option we're talking about. So
some fans think he's the second coming of someone else, but that's it. He's the Lord and Savior.
Oh
boy.
But
hey, who are we to say?
He's been great. And I said this, I don't know if you guys have any
The Lord shows up in mysterious ways, Bobby.
I said this, and I actually asked Bob Ryan this because I thought he might have an answer.
Did he?
Is this the best second-round undrafted find that the Celtics have ever had? I mean, he's in that conversation now. So you got Glenn Davis, Leon Poe. You can throw way back to like Danny in the second round, but that's a different era. Like if we're talking modern history with the Celtics, you really haven't had a lot of great second-round picks, undrafted rookies who have made impacts on this team. And he's now the staple 10-point a game, 3-point shooting threat off your bench, undrafted. It's been impressive.
Undrafted. Sherrod Googling right now. Undrafted Celtics. What's he finding?
Jim, I keep going. Bobby already mentioned the one guy that automatically came to mind.
Did Bob Ryan have an answer or no?
I mean, when you said, you know, our good friend from Cal, you know, was on the championship team, split time with Glenn Davis in the front court. Leon to me was the guy. I mean, Leon was just an absolute badass.
The man tore his ACL and kept playing.
Exactly.
They don't make him like that anymore.
They don't. That's why
like a nail out there. They're gonna miss a couple games now.
I mean, Sam has been really good. Don't get me wrong, but Leon helped them win a chip. I mean, that's until Sam.
Bobby's Googling Leon Poe now. He's like, who? Bobby, put some respect on Leon's name.
Hey, I see him around the team a lot. He's part of the organization.
Not to mention,
and I remember seeing him
story too.
Right. Yeah.
Just homeless.
Just
like one of like 10.
Dino Raja was a second-round pick. You want to go back to 89?
Oh, Dino Raja. Everybody drink. Everybody drink Dino.
Salute,
I mean, he's in the mix with these guys, isn't he? You're right, Sherrod. If he wants to be in that Poe category, you got to do it in the playoffs and in the
talk about second rounders or undrafted guys.
Both of them, because honestly,
Glenn
you look
Davis,
at the second-round picks.
Baby.
I put Poe ahead of Big Baby though.
Big Baby won you a chip too.
Yeah, but Leon, Leon was just every time Leon got on the floor, he was just tough.
We'd have Big Baby.
Semi anybody?
But I have a feeling we won't be seeing him.
Excuse me?
Semi Ojale?
Yeah, no, he ain't gonna.
I love Semi, but thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for your contributions.
He had Kadeem Allen, Jabari Bird, Abdel Nader. I mean, you really haven't had many second-round undrafted guys come through and hit. Jordan Mickey.
A lot of promise.
I was so wrong about Jordan Mickey.
A lot of promise there. LSU.
I was so wrong about that dude. I thought that was going to be the second.
Chris Joseph, Sherrod.
My Syracuse guy never quite.
Etuan Moore. He had a decent career.
Actually, he was probably the one that they traded him away in order to get Courtney Lee.
Yeah.
And that was
who is this?
I wasn't I didn't feel great about that then.
Oh, Etuan Moore had an unreal career, actually.
The dude was in the league for like 10,
Boston,
10, 11 years. Yeah.
No, not in Nebraska, but he went on to play for a long time in Orlando.
And he was in New Orleans near the end there. So
Yeah, he was a good player.
He was a good player.
They drafted him and Juwan Johnson, who didn't quite pan out.
Juwan lasted what, 1 year? I think. Yeah, Johnson lasted like a season.
He went in the Courtney Lee trade.
Yeah, his best days were overseas though.
Yeah, by default.
He spent like a decade or so overseas. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Trying to find it. If anyone else thinks of some names, throw them out there. But I think Hauser's in this mix already. You haven't had many of these guys over the
small sample sizes in the flesh right here, folks.
You haven't had many of these guys, period, though, Jimmy.
No, you're right. He is contributing at a rate. He's on a trajectory to end up as one of the best second round / undrafted Celtics players for sure.
Yeah, he's on track for that. But Jimmy's right though. The sample size is too damn small. He's basically had what amounts to like a good month.
You had Strus. Could have been him. But
I don't know about that. I mean, he looks great on another team, but I don't know if that would have happened here.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's the other thing, right? Like, it's tough for these guys to break through on what's mostly been a great team over the years. You don't usually play those kind of guys if you have a deep team or a winning team. And fortunately, this team for Hauser's thin enough where they've needed him to be a consistent night-to-night guy. I mean, that's not really who he was last year. He'd show up in certain spots if they needed it, but you had Brogdon, you had Pritchard at moments, you had other guys who were in that mix in front of him there. He ended up playing a lot of games, but not big consistent minutes like he is night-to-night this year. And the consistency's been pretty impressive. But as you said, Jimmy, is this all your bench scoring right here? Because Pritchard has struggled from an offensive standpoint. Cornette's not giving you much there on most nights, unless it's Wednesday against the Sixers. And Horford's just starting to get going. That was another good thing from this one, if we want to get off Hauser, was Horford starting to find his groove, goes back to the bench, still goes 4 or 5 with 3 threes, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 points off the bench. If he's going to get into this groove now, that's going to be another nice thing to have off the bench here, him hitting threes and making key plays down the stretch.
And they were big shots that he made, too, down the stretch. I mean, they really needed someone not named Tatum or Jaylen Brown to kind of deliver in that moment. And Al stepped up. That's going to have to be his role, I think, going forward. I mean, he's not going to get a ton of shot attempts, but he's got to be very tactical in the ones that he knocks down. And I think more nights than not, they're going to need him in the second half to make big shots. It doesn't have to be game-winning shots, but like if the opponent's on like a 10-2 run and the lead is down to a point, if Al's wide open in the corner, he's got to knock that shot down. He needs to be a situational shot maker for them. And I thought he did that tonight. I thought he made all the big shots that they absolutely needed when he had an opportunity to make them. And that has to be part of his profile going forward.
You impressed, Jimmy?
With Al?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to do some quick emergency research. Justin Quinn, great. They have a great podcast on CLNS. He texted me and said Leon Poe technically was drafted by the Denver Nuggets. So
we're gonna go there, Lee.
Yeah, but the Celtics got his rights though
on draft night. Yeah.
So I'm giving it to the Celtics.
That's
so sorry, Justin. Thank you for watching though.
Yeah, those trades can get tricky.
Those guys are over. Those guys are great over at Celtics.
I think the same thing was true of Big Baby. I think they got his rights on draft night.
He was in the Ray Allen
trade, right? Yeah.
So yeah, and you pick those guys technically if the trade's agreed upon on draft night.
Sorry, Al Horford. Yeah, we talked a lot about him. Was it last game, Bobby?
Yeah,
when he started, and
we said, did he have to start to have nights like this? And tonight showed maybe not.
Oh, that is a hit to your stance on Horford and Holiday switcheroo. So that was a tough one. Bobby was pumping it up last game, but I mean, listen, good for Al. I think that he's a professional. It's going to take him. This is an adjustment for him, right, Sherrod? I mean, going from a starter all your career to a different role, same player. And really, they want the same things from you out there, but there's probably a different way that you get there, and a different, like you said before, Bobby, you're coming into the game at a point where the pace has already been dictated to a certain extent. The energy's there, and your job is to sort of keep it going, or if you need to, I guess,
Make some
if
hustle
it's
plays. Yeah.
make some hustle. If it's off to the wrong start, then you want to switch things up. So it's a different mentality coming in as a reserve, and I would not be surprised if Al just needed a little bit of time to just get used to that situation.
Well, look who he's out there with in the fourth, where he hit those 2 threes. It's Holiday, Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, I believe, at that point. So he's out there with those starters effectively at that point. And that's what we've said, I think, is, it doesn't really matter who starts. It's finding the right combinations throughout the flow of the game. And they were able to get a nice double big look there early in the fourth quarter that kept them in the game as the Raptors kept making shots there. So that's the key, I think, for Missoula, is figuring out the spots where you put Horford to have the most success. Because that starting lineup's tough to break up right now, the way they've played to begin the year.
Yeah, and I think Joe is doing a good job of doing just that, figuring out the right combinations. And I thought that would be the biggest challenge he would have this year, to be candid with you, because you literally have 6, 7 guys that are talented enough to start for you. And obviously you can only put 5 out there at a time. And the thing about Al, though, why it made sense for him to come off the bench is because he's a veteran. He is one of those guys who knows how to get in where he fits in. And so to me, it wasn't a matter of if he'd figure it out, which is a matter of when. And so it looks as though he's turning the corner of really understanding how he can impact winning for this team. Because Al can play. He's still got enough in the tank to where he's serviceable. He can do some things. He can help you win. But how can you maximize that quality in him? And I think Joe Mazzulla, I think he's doing a pretty good job of getting the most that you can get out of Al at this point in Al's career.
We get some interesting stuff. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Quick Jalen update. It's from Amit, sent us this message from Tom Giles at NBC Sports.
Hold on. Want to hold it real quick? I want to get this read in
Sure.
first. We'll talk Jalen's injury update right after this, but
everyone has to wait for the injury update. Sorry.
We
didn't even know what I was going to say. It could have been horrible news. It could have been absolutely horrible news.
Well, we got to wait.
Bobby, go into the read. Go ahead.
Official wagering partner of CLNS Media. In-season tournament night. Great night to make some bets here with a lot of action going on. Cross basketball as well as football last night. Ravens took care of business pretty easily in a close line. That one I think was fairly easy to get unless you didn't know about Burrow's injury. But a lot of good action going on right now. Whether you're betting money lines, which this offer here's relevant for $150 in bonus bets when you place a winning $5 money line bet. That's just picking a team to win. So your favorites, your underdogs who are giving you those plus odds, just bet $5 there. You're going to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. And of course, FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. New customers, again, $150 in bonus bets when you make a $5 winning money line bet. If you're thinking of joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. It's easy to use, whether it's spreads, player props, over-unders, or more. Just go to FanDuel.com/Boston to keep the NFL season rolling. It's FanDuel. Make every moment more. And, of course, 21 plus, President Mass. And bets are not bonus bets non-withdrawable and last 7 days. Again, check all that information out over at FanDuel.com.
Get your money line bet in there. Yeah, bet the easy, heavy favorite. Put your money line bet in. Get the $5 money line bet. Then you get the 150 bonus bet bucks, and then you can get kind of funky with your bets, and then you can hopefully start making some serious money. Okay. What I was going to say, this isn't like that crazy an update. It's just that Jaylen Brown told Joe Mazzulla that he was okay after he lost his footing during the sideline inbounds. That was when he was out there in the court. Then he walked back to the bench gingerly. That was from Tom Giles of NBC Sports. Now, we don't know anything since, but I guess initially when the injury occurred, Jaylen Brown thought he was okay. So we'll take that until we can hear anything else. I'm sure Joe has spoke since. Although I'm not sure if we have any of that footage or any of that sound. Amit will we have Amin on the lookout for any Jaylen Brown updates, so he will let us know.
Yep, and he had a good night.
That.
Nice Jaylen night. Lefty finishes in transition, tough baskets. He's finding his footing in this offense after a slow start for it overall tonight, and they only score 108. So you were kind of stuck in the mud with that Raptors style on the road against a tough crowd up there. So this was a tough game for everybody, and to have tough shot makers like Brown, like Porzingis late, and Horford hitting those threes, White hitting the three late. You need that with Tatum struggling here. So, again, Joe said it. You can win multiple ways, and tonight was another unique way I felt like to win against a team that gave you a lot of trouble here. Joe Mazzulla saying this from Amit. It was the first time all year we weren't the best version of ourselves. It was good we were able to go through that. And that's how I felt, Jimmy. I didn't like how they played for much of the game tonight. You 38% in the first, floating right around 40% in the second and third. And then you were under 40% until very late in that fourth quarter. I did not like the way they were executing offensively until those last three key possessions there. You hit a shot here or there that kept you in it, but then you really needed to execute late, and you did. And you mentioned it, Jimmy, Holiday assisting all three of those pivotal baskets in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah. You kind of have to compartmentalize this game a little bit because, there were some things that you didn't like, and you mentioned them earlier, Bobby. A lot of it had to do with defense, and we talked about Tatum maybe forcing it a little too much tonight, and shooters are going to do that. Very rarely is a first-team All-NBA guy just going to say, oh, I'm not going to shoot it tonight. He's going to try to shoot his way out of things. But in that fourth quarter, they could have gone one of two ways. They could have continued to let Toronto go on a run, and they could have, faded off into the night, or they came back the way they did. And again, a lot of it had to do with Porzingis. We talked about him a little bit, but just his presence out there alone, just being able to go to a guy like that, a 7+ footer, who is coordinated. It's rare, right? To be able to be that in tune with your body at that size. I mean, he really is pretty smooth out there for a big man, and it's just an option that you just haven't had. And again, not to beat it over the head, but it's not even close to what it was like when Rob Williams was out there. They're just injuries aside, Rob Williams was just not the offensively tuned player. He will never come close to what Porzingis is on that end. Defensively, sure, but offensively, you're really missing a lot there. So to have Porzingis on both sides, but specifically on that offensive side, just allows you to do so much more. And I know we get the Holiday graphic up here, and I don't need to go on and on about Holiday. I think I've made it pretty clear how I feel about him. And again, this is just a Holiday line: 8 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, you probably would have had more than that. And there you go with Porzingis. So Bobby's making me chase his lower thirds right now. But
one turnover too for Holiday. You love to see that on a night where.
Absolutely. I mean, dude, Holiday and White they are the best guard combo. They have to be the best guard combo. Defensively, 100%.
Yep.
And I've said this before. If you're an opposing team and you see the Celtics on your schedule, if you're a guard on the opposing team, you're shaking your head in disgust. Like, I do not feel like dealing with these guys for 35 minutes, 40 minutes a game. They're just hounding me.
Yeah.
Sherrod. I mean, that's just...
Well, they're problematic for you at both ends of the floor, which is something you can't say for backcourts as a tandem. They can score the ball off the dribble. They can hit the 3 ball. They can shoot. They can rebound. They can defend. They can pass. They can make plays in the clutch. I mean, and we're talking about guys who at best are maybe your 3rd and 4th options, who can do literally everything you potentially want your backcourt to do. When it matters, at the beginning of the game, end of the game, middle of the game, they have that ability. And that is a luxury that if you start looking closely around the NBA, no one really has it that good, where you've got guys that are experienced, that have been through some things, and are still in position where they're not exactly at the end of the rope in their careers. They still have some room to get a little bit better. Drew obviously is a little bit closer to that end than Derek, but Drew's still arguably the best on-ball defender, made all the big plays, whether it was scoring the ball tonight, whether it was getting guys, the ball in rhythm where they can make plays, whether it was defending and cutting off driving lanes when guys tried to get past him. this is as complete a backcourt tandem as you can possibly envision having in the NBA.
Yeah,
we gotta switch for a second. Amit just sent us a quote from Jalen about tonight. He said he may have hurt his groin when he slipped and fell on the in-season tournament court, and he is not happy about it. Quote, "The floor was unacceptable. Guys were slipping all over the place."
There you go. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
That was from Adam Simmelbach on Twitter. What do you mean that's what you needed? That's what I said was happening.
Jimmy, you said that because that was Jimmy Toscano, Jimmy Bucket speaking out of the heart.
That was your opinion.
Taylor is speaking from the groin. I want to hear from the groin.
That was speaking from my eyeballs watching the game and seeing these guys.
I'd rather hear
Sherrod's like, I want to hear from the horse's mouth.
I want to hear from the groin. And
it was
the groin is spoken.
I don't need to go that far. I don't need to hear from the groin, but I'm glad Jaylen Brown confirmed what I had already known, is that the NBA screwed up. Thank you.
So are you no, Jimmy?
It's not the first problem.
You're saying all the
cancel the tournament now? You got to cancel the tournament now. You can't have guys slipping and sliding all over the.
How crazy
place.
is the championship court going to look? By the way,
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah,
it's just sensory overload.
But
I get it.
I didn't like the court. I didn't like the court tonight. I didn't like the court tonight. But I don't like the fact that
I thought people liked this one more.
Jaylen Brown is, what is he, VP of the Players Association? He had a hand in this whole collective bargaining agreement, and he had I don't
know if they bargained the courts.
Well, so my point is, Bobby, is that he's supposed to be an ambassador to this game, and he's supposed to sort of hype up this tournament and be a supporter of it and push it. I imagine that's the memo going around.
He's 0 for 3 on that,
and he's openly bashing the league.
Yeah, well, he's back.
Or the
I wouldn't choose the word excited.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think Jalen pretty much let us know from the very beginning that this was not something that he had the pom-poms out for, So it's not surprising.
Because he just signed a big contract, and like you said, that $500K doesn't mean a whole lot, I guess.
Well, it's not even that. I just
can donate it.
I just think that guys like Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I just think they're focused on winning a championship, and they really don't want to deal with anything that would distract them from their focus, which is getting to the NBA Finals. And this is a potential distraction, something that people are talking about and thinking about and worrying about, and they're just like, we just want to play games and get to the finals. That's it. That's all they want to do, and I get it.
So Jalen's saying he's hurt in that quote, right?
He didn't say that specifically, but I don't. He said the only quote of it we have is he said he hurt his groin. I don't know what that means.
And you could tell.
He's hurt.
We knew he hurt it. No, we knew he hurt it. We saw him hurt it, but we don't know.
We don't know the extent of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know whether it was just like a tweak and he's a little sore, or whether this could potentially be something that he misses games with.
Yeah, we don't know.
Which is my concern. Because when I saw it happen, you knew right away that it was a groin injury. Just the way he paused and was limping, and with groin injuries, the way
he was holding it, I don't know.
They're just such an unpredictable injury as far as like recovery time. You can see someone that it doesn't look that big a deal, and they could be out fight for weeks, or someone who could go down and thriving in pain and be able to play like the next day. You just never really know about groins.
We've talked about there's a team that's in a tough position to sustain injuries. Hauser could step up with that starting group, and you find a bench guy on any given night to mix in there, but you kind of need your top 5-6 guys to stay healthy here. So hopefully he'll be okay. A bunch of games coming up too. Sunday in Memphis, Monday in Charlotte, Wednesday against the Bucks, and then, like we said, that Friday in-season game next week against the Magic. So they're going to keep rolling here. You'd be missing Horford in one of those back-to-backs, I'd imagine. I'd probably sit him Sunday on the front half again, just because of the state of this Grizzlies team, and we'll get to that in just a second here. But is there anything we missed out of this game here? We talked Holiday, Porzingis. Again, I want to mention him one more time because he was so great. There were some moments where I thought Pirtle took it to him a little bit, and that's going to be life for him against the more physically imposing centers out there. But they're doing a good job scheming him into the help position. Feels like every game he's getting a little bit more and more adjusted to this team. But as I talked to him on Wednesday about, picked up another technical. That's 7 for him, leading the NBA as he rockets toward, I think it's 16 games for the suspension, 15, 16. So he's already halfway there, just 10 games in. He really can't help himself. And he was mad after that shot in the lane that he felt like he was fouled on there, and picks up a quick technical right after. So, yeah, no hesitation.
Dude, what's
Blamed
that,
on the
7
passion.
now?
Yeah, 7 for him. So blamed on the passion, the excitement he's playing with right now, and you can see it. But I think one thing, people talk a lot about this team, as good as they are, they can get even better. I think Porzingis is the prime example of that. The screening game he's playing with right now, the positioning defensively, staying out of foul trouble, avoiding these techs. He can do all that. And he had 4 assists in the first quarter tonight, which is like part of his game that's slowly coming along now.
Yeah. I mean, he is a major matchup problem for defenses because of his versatility.
Schroeder on him, forget about it.
Yeah, and kind of going back to Jimmy's point earlier about him and Rob Williams, that was one of the issues with Rob when he was out there. I mean, he's great at finishing and rim running and things like that, but when he was on the floor and he was outside the paint, defense was just like, shoot it. Go ahead. You can't do that with Porzingis. Porzingis keeps you on your edge defensively when he's on the floor because he has the ability to score in a multitude of ways. And even though we didn't see a ton of it in this game, I love when him and Jaylen Brown are in a pick and roll game. It is absolutely devastating. Jaylen is a better passer than I thought he would be in terms of the pick and roll game. And I think a lot of that is because he's got a target in Porzingis who puts a different kind of stress on defenses than a Robert Williams did. And that, again, I give Jaylen a lot of credit. He's figuring out ways to be impactful beyond just being a guy that can get to the rim and finish. He's knocking down the 3 ball. Obviously, he's shown the ability to do that. He's finding guys in transition. He's finding, Porzingis with the lob. I mean, he's becoming a much more complete player, which is great to see. And Porzingis, to his credit, is doing exactly what you want a guy with his skill set to do, and that is exhibit those skills, those talents, night in, night out, and force defenses to play a little bit of guesswork as to what the hell you're going to do. Is he going to try to finish at the rim? Is he going to shoot the 3? Is he going to post my little guard up on a switch? What's he going to do? And Porzingis and Joe Mazzulla, to their credit, they've got teams guessing, and more times than not, teams are getting it wrong.
Yeah. He's been a menace for them. I've been blown away by how immediately impactful and consistent he's been here. And this wasn't his best game either. You don't see him hit a 3. You don't see him rack up the free throw attempts here. Made some mistakes defensively. At one point, he fell down late. Thought he should have got back in the play much quicker. But then he hits those 2 really tough shots. A leaner over Schroeder, hook shot over those 2 guys down low after Drew dumped it off to him. So he was the decisive player late, not to mention the blocks. Nice steal, too, early. That pass, I forget, Flynn maybe tried to get it over him, and he just went right up and caught it. Another great game from him right after he suffered a knee bruise on Monday. Misses that one game, and he's right back looking like this. So credit to Porzingis certainly here. And
B-Rob tweeted that I guess they took one of the new courts away in Dallas.
That was the Grant situation.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that.
Grant pointed that out.
So Grant was shooting 3s to shoot around, and the line was off.
These courts are, that's what you guys talk about, the 3-point line. These courts are dropping left and right here, folks. That's unbelievable. How did Grant know that?
Because I think Grant was shooting and his shot was off.
Were they going? Were they going in? They were going in, and he was like, "Wait a second."
No, they weren't. See, Jimmy. I'm picking on my guy Grant. No.
He's like, why are all these shots going in?
That's just such a Grant thing to do, though, to recognize that the court is the measurements from the 3-point line to the rim are slightly off. That's such a Grant thing.
Can't wait till we see Grant. You know who we're not going to see Sunday, unfortunately, is Marcus Smart, and we'll talk about that for a second here before we get out of here. But I want to shout out HelloFresh signing on for the year. Shout out to them. Really one of my favorite partners we've had here on the Garden Report, bar none. And now they're offering us free breakfast for life.
Free brekkie.
Is the cherry on top here. This is amazing.
That's a lot of breakfast.
We've all gotten box after box here. We love the service. We've kept going back to them. And how could you not? There's so many different options. They're updated seasonally, so you're not going to get bored. You can customize it to your needs, whether it's dietary or just wanting to shake it up. And it's convenient. You don't have to run to the grocery store. You're not paying for these big expensive meals. You know how much I paid for a pizza tonight, Jimmy?
$18.
30.
22. Damn.
What?
$30
Where did you
for a pizza.
wait. Don't say where. I don't want to blow them up. But what kind of pizza are we talking about here?
It was a meatball. It was kind of, a lot going on the pizza. Meatball, tomatoes, all kinds of stuff.
What the hell you could
meatball and tomatoes? That's what you got?
Yeah, like a meatball pomodoro. Yeah. So it's crazy.
$30 is a lot for a pizza. Was it good?
It was good.
All right, finish the read.
So you got your money's worth.
Finish the read.
But again, HelloFresh got options. 45 weekly recipes, 100 curated picks, and it's affordable, which is, you're paying tip, you're paying all the stuff going out. This is to your door, customizable, and fresh. That's why they call it HelloFresh. So the holiday season can be hectic, and you got 15-minute meals to address that, help you get back to what you need to do, get to the table in less time than it takes to even do delivery, to all kinds of different options here. And the breakfast point, big one. You're going to get free breakfast for life with your orders right now when you go to HelloFresh.com/CLNS free, and you're going to get free breakfast for life. That's one breakfast item per box while your subscription's active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/CLNS free. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Can't wait for my next box to come in next week.
There you go. Interested to see what the breakfast is. Let me know. Very interested to see what the breakfast is.
Me too.
Lots of different options.
Better be a
Lots
damn
of
good
options
pizza.
with the breakfast.
Better be a damn good pizza.
Egg bites, waffles. They got a lot of different stuff.
Amit says he got egg bites and they were fire.
Yeah. The bacon egg. Yeah.
What's an egg bite?
It's just like
Believe it or not, Jimmy, I didn't do the fish box this time. I wanted to try out the meat one. Jimmy, Josue told me they got shepherd's pie.
Some protein.
It's one of my favorite meals. So,
shepherd's pie. You're a shepherd's pie guy?
Yeah, I love it.
Little meat, little corn, little potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's good stuff.
That's good. Yeah, you know what? That's a nice winter meal.
Yeah, it is.
Late
fall, early winter. Fall, early winter. Yeah.
Totally. I like that, Bobby. I like that. You get a nice, if you get it, toss some butter on there, real butter that thing up, and you're sitting pretty.
That's a good one.
Shepherd's pie pizza. That'd be expensive.
I don't know if I'd go for that, but Marcus Smart, I'm going down to Memphis, and this stinks. Out 3 to 5 weeks with an ankle.
You might be getting your plane ticket pulled. You better get on that flight soon, or else Zannis might come knocking and say you're not going anymore. Yeah, that sucks. They said 3 to 5 weeks. Or saying, damn.
Yeah, he fell on that left ankle on Austin Reeves in the in-season game they had on Tuesday against the Lakers. He'd been playing well there. The team has, and they started 2-9, but he's passing the ball. He's defending. He's doing all the smart things. You saw him dive on the floor and make that pass. He's not shooting well, Jimmy, but we know he does.
How well could he be playing? Really?
Passing the ball, defense.
If he's not shooting well,
smart things.
If he's not shooting well and they're not winning, how well could he be playing? The Marcus Smart things are only Marcus Smart things when they're winning games.
Well, they're missing 3 starters.
Otherwise, you're Aaron Nesmith or whoever the hell you want to be.
Well, how good would the Celtics be if you took Tatum, Porzingis, and
no, I get it. He's in a shitty situation, absolutely. And the Memphis Grizzlies are, and it might get worse before it gets better for the Grizzlies. My antennas are still up on Ja Morant. That whole situation is extremely off to me.
It's gonna get worse here.
I don't know if Ja Morant, and I'm not saying I have any facts, but I typically don't have any facts, but I just don't. It's very quiet on the Ja Morant front, it feels. And
he's suspended till the end of December.
He's got 25-game suspension.
Yes, I know, but I still feel like I wonder how that.
Actually, isn't it a good thing that it's quiet on the Ja front, considering
it is?
No, I mean, you kind of want to hear. You want to hear maybe something good, or
not if you're Memphis.
Report would be coming out that he's doing this or he's doing that.
Memphis, you want to hear radio silence on Ja Morant right now. That's what you want. That's what you really want, because when you hear about Ja Morant the last year or so, it's usually not good.
I don't want to hear about him on his Instagram Live. I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree that's not the place to, broadcast yourself. But
Right.
I'm just saying, listen, my antennas are up. The situation there, they brought Marcus
Keep
Smart
him
there, I
up.
think, for some leadership, but my antennas are up on John Moran.
I'm
And
just,
we'll clip this, and if I end up being right about it, that's another thing that we didn't need to hear from the groin about, Sherrod. You heard it from me.
okay. Jimmy, the yeah. More knowledgeable than the groin. Love it.
Oh, we got a JB update, JB quote here from Jaylen Brown. Damn it, Amit, I'm trying to read it and you keep typing. I slipped. That's it. I slipped. I think I might have strained my groin a little bit. We'll see how it feels, but the court was just slippery all game. I think as players, we're all here for the in-season tournament because it's going to generate revenue, excitement, competition. But we've got to make sure the floor is safe to play on. We can't put our players out there and risk their health. Tonight, I thought the floor was unacceptable. I think guys were slipping all over the place, not just me. So some pretty harsh criticism there, warranted, might I say. And you just got to hope that
What's Drake gonna say about this?
it's a minor strain or a minor pull.
We'll hear about it in the next hit.
Maybe he takes Sunday's game. I think if you're gonna miss a game, man, it sounds like Sunday might be the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
that might be a rest night for Horford and Brown and whoever else.
I'll say this. If you were waiting for the game to use your FanDuel promo and bet that $5 money line, I think it's Sunday night. You bet the Celtics against the Grizzlies. That's just that's a tip. That's a Jimmy Toscano gambler's tip right there.
Right now, so the Grizzlies are playing the Spurs tomorrow, front half of a back-to-back. Of course, no Adams, Clark, Ja. Luke Kennard's out with a knee bruise.
Ooh.
Smart's out with a left ankle. Xavier Tillman's out with a knee. And Derrick Rose has a knee thing going on right now, too. So they are just destroyed with
should
injuries.
not play tomorrow. Or should not play
Sunday.
that game on Sunday.
No, he ain't going to play that game. No way. That's the perfect game to rest.
It is. It is.
And they come back on Monday
aggravate that even more
against the Hornets, who could be pesky. They just got Miles Bridges back, by the way. I think he played for the first time tonight in 500-something days. So they get a piece of their team back.
Celebrate that.
Yeah. But that's it for us here tonight. Any final thoughts, guys, on this game? It was a good one. I thought they were going to lose this one the way it was going to start the fourth, and they just pulled some great plays out of their behinds again in the closing stretch of the fourth. And this is becoming, I think, it's a real story here, a good crunch time team that can win in multiple ways in late and close games, which is where they've really struggled. Honestly, Jimmy, since we started doing this show, how many late games have they blown throughout multiple seasons here? And now it looks like a strength of this team.
Yeah, or just not capitalized on an opportunity to win, or like, fumble it away. Turnovers, lack of execution, forced shots. Everybody knows where the ball's going, and it's different. It's definitely different this year. Sherrod, I'm not there yet. I'm not even close to there yet comparing to the 07-08 team, but this is a hot start for the Celtics. Similar to that 07-08 team.
Yeah, it's a good start. It's a really good start. But the thing that I like most about this team, and Bobby, you touched on it just a few seconds ago, is the fact that they have a multitude of ways that they can beat you. And they have a multitude of players that can absolutely be the disruptor at both ends of the floor that you need in order to win on nights when you're not at the top of your game. And there's no question that they were not the best version of themselves for the majority of this game, and yet they go on the road against a feisty team, a hostile environment, and they come away with a win. And they did it the way that great teams win. They do it with different elements, different aspects, different players stepping up in when the lights are brightest. And I think that's the scary part for most people when you play the Celtics. Is down the stretch, you really have no idea who's going to be carrying the torch for them. And that's a major advantage that they have most nights when they step on the floor. So good win. They should get another good one over the weekend and just kind of keep it going and potentially get this win streak up to double digits, which I think is very realistic to happen.
I'll give a quick shout out to the Odds Are, another great sponsor of ours here.
What up, Odds Are?
Free trial. The AI learning, great compliment for FanDuel. Gotta get $150 bonus bet. You got to make that $5 money line bet
For sure.
count, and they're going to tell you which bets are worthwhile here. Green means great, yellow, red don't do it. That's oddsr.com/Celtics. Try it for 30 free days right now with oddsr.com/Celtics. Of course, FanDuel, fanduel.com/Boston, and take advantage of this great offer at HelloFresh with hellofresh.com/CLNS free. I'm on to Memphis tomorrow morning.
Yeah, what are you
Let
gonna do in
know how
Memphis,
it goes.
dude? Where you going? Like, dude, you're going tomorrow, so you got like
Yeah, I got the
you
day.
got all weekend. You got all weekend, dude.
Yeah, so I don't know, Sherrod, have you been down there?
I've been to Memphis a few times.
You got any tips for him?
Lots of barbecue. If you love barbecue, you've got lots of
Rock and
options.
Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Graceland. You got to go to Graceland, right?
Got the MLK
Graceland's
stuff
a little
too.
bit. Graceland's a little bit of a hype, but yeah, that'd be worth checking out.
I'm definitely.
But the barbecue, I'm all about the food. Memphis, I'm all about the food in Memphis.
Bobby's more of a. Bobby, you're more of a rap guy, though. You're not really into the whole like.
Memphis has a big
jazz
rap
scene. Do they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like a bunch of different music though. I'll check it all out.
Good.
But yeah, got the
you
full
a Westfall
weekend.
fan?
Yes, I am. You know how many times I've been. I stood outside Hunter's for 30 minutes in the rain, Jimmy. Dude, so you can never question my fandom.
That's a short line, man. But you know what? There's a rumor that Ahmed and Josue are coming through tomorrow. So if you guys want Josue to sign autographs tomorrow, if you want to meet Josue, he might be at Hunter's in Southie at 3 p.m.
Oh, you at Hunter's tomorrow?
Yes, sir. It's a big one. Saturday.
Well, I'll miss that one, but hopefully
Sherrod might roll through. Who knows? You never know who you're going to see. Sherrod.
You never know.
All right, that's an 8 o'clock game. 8 o'clock game on Sunday, back-to-back. So Monday they'll be in Charlotte. And then that Wednesday game, Jimmy, you know how the day before Thanksgiving is. It's going to be a rowdy garden against the Bucks on Wednesday night. That's going to be
an awesome game. It's going to be an awesome show. I'll be at my parents' house, I think, because it's the holidays, folks.
Wait a second. Wasn't John supposed to have us over this year for some sort of Thanksgiving thing?
He's been saying that for a couple of years.
He's been saying that for years. And then he's going to come on. He's going to come on the show showing us everything he made, but not sharing any of it with us.
Wednesday is the pie show. John's going to be I guarantee you John's going to miss at least one quarter just looking in the oven. He's going to be balancing 3 or 4 pies at once. This is what he does Thanksgiving Eve. So that'll be a good show. We'll probably, depending on how the show goes, we'll probably have a little Thanksgiving segment like we like to do. Really get down to the nitty gritty of it all. I'll be making something. I love
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't want to get into it. I'll save my takes for the next ones, but it should be good. Anyways, thanks guys.
Celtics
Sherrod,
win.
Always a pleasure.
Good win. Thanks for joining us, Sherrod. Josue, John will be back Sunday. You're off Sunday, right, Jimmy? So we'll see you Monday. And
I think so, yeah.
I'll be in Memphis, so stay tuned for our coverage down there. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Subscribe, Celtics All Access, CLNS Media, and the podcast version of the Garden Report out every morning the day after these shows. So check that out as well. Good night.